Well, if that wasn't the most one-sided final I've ever seen in the Champions League, I don't know what I'm watching there. PSG 5, Inter Milan nil, Internazionale. This was meant to be the one for them. This was meant to be the one. It was one to forget for Inter, bruv. Really, really and truly. 5-0, 5-0. They lost. Hakim in the 12th, Doué in the 20th, again in the 63rd, Kvaratskhelia in the 73rd, and Mayulu in the 86th, just off the bench. Madness, absolute madness. I don't know what happens to this Inter team now, but safe to say this Inter team is finished. Aging, maybe overstayed the welcome in some of the players. I know the manager now has been up in the air in terms of whether he should stay or go, or he should resign himself. But that's actually mad if you just check the stats here for yourselves. Here, if you want to have a look here just quickly from what you can see. 3.12 expected goals. They put 5. Booker T settings, 5. 5-time, 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 5-time. UEFA Champions League final goal scorers. 5. Past an Inter team that had one big chance and fluffed it. Look, 8 big chances for PSG, 4 missed for them. They could have absolutely blitzed them by 8, and it would not have been an exaggeration. Look at that, 23 shots, 8 on target, 8 from Inter the whole game, 2 on target. Their first shot on target came in the 75th minute, mind you. The 75th minute. So this team has lost the Serie A to Napoli. They lost the Supercoppa. They lost the Coppa Italia and the Champions League. So 4 competitions they were in for, won none of them. Second, by a point, you can say maybe they weren't good enough in the league just by that little bit there. But to lose to Bologna, to lose to AC, and to lose to PSG, it's a bit diabolical, really. It's a bit diabolical. Let's have a quick watch here for our guy, Footy Judge Mo, absolutely seething at the full-time whistle.
Respect to everyone. Inter are officially now the worst Champions League finalist in the history of the sport. In the history of the sport, we are the worst finalists to ever play this in a final, and he needs to go on the spot. There is no coming back for him. He cannot coach Inter again. He shouldn't go back to Milano. He should leave and go to Saudi Arabia. And he should absolutely be sacked on the spot, because this is the worst final I have seen in the history of the Champions League. And Inzaghi coached that final. You can't tell me that the difference between the two teams and the two squads is 5-0. He coached the fucking worst final I have seen in my life.
And just launched his headphones and froze on camera, bro. Poor Mo. This man loves Inter than life itself, I reckon. Like, absolutely loves them. So it was a shame to see the way they went out effectively. But a lot has been made on the whole, comparisons to the teams. Like, realistically, Barcelona would have been a better opponent for PSG. A PSG versus Barca final would have been pure cinema. It would have been truly the final to have watched. But Barca left napping at the back. Inter ghosted in, got themselves a late winner, and they won that tie on aggregate. Was it 7-6, whatever it was, an all-time classic in the second leg of the semi-final, and that's why they were in the final there. But should they have been there? Did they deserve to be in that final? Well, they won their games. Whether their football spoke for themselves or not is a different story. They won their games. That's pretty much what it comes down to. Now, to move it across to the shamelessness, because, Arsenal fans are always going to make it about themselves. Instead of saying like, holy shit, I mean, that PSG team, wow, absolutely smoked Inter. I mean, dare I say what they would have done to us if we played them in a final. And to say that they were better than them, that Arsenal were better than PSG. I mean, this is the sort of stuff you see online now. AFC Camden, the XG Philosophy tweeted on May 8th, PSG's 1.85 XG against Arsenal's 3.42, and Arsenal lost their game 2-1. But they lost the game. What good is XG, the quality of chances, if you're not scoring your goals? If this doesn't say you need a goal scorer, I don't know what does. Absolute madness. Arsenal fans do not understand that when you're 2-3 goals up, you don't really need to create XG. Exactly. You don't need to be creating goals. You've got your goals already. And they were 1-0 up from the game prior as well at the Emirates. They were one up already, and it was pretty much mission impossible from there on in. Bit of a mistake in the back. Saka nips in, he gets himself a goal there, and could have tied up the game if not for hitting it over the crossbar. But that is now history. James, AFC James with the X in the name, says, we went blow for blow with this PSG team. I mean, it's a bit mad there to say they gave them a blowy, but you still lost the games. Doesn't matter. You lost the games. They were 3-0 down, exactly. 3-0 on aggregate at one point, but, they were better than them and they went blow for blow. Just because you attack on either end doesn't mean that you were the better team. They outplayed you in both legs. Arsenal fans never learn. Why am I getting ads? I don't know why. More like they grabbed your head and made you blow. Whoa, that's crazy. Chelsea fan then. That's crazy work. Another one, Igal. Mikel Arteta's Arsenal went blow for blow with these PSG super team fares. So they're using this as a measuring stick to say how good this Arsenal team is. Arsenal is so good that they went bar for bar with PSG and they just escaped with a 3-1. You know which team they actually played against and they narrowly escaped with? My Liverpool team. Yeah? We nicked it 1-0 away at the Parc des Princes. Obviously, heavily outpossessed. They had more XG than us. Absolutely pelted our goal. Alisson, man of the match. Defense was in a shambles, but you need your goalkeepers to do your business. You need your goalkeepers. And let's be real here as well. Raya, in that second leg, I think it was, even in that first leg, I think PSG could have been 2 or 3-0 up already and would have been game over at the Emirates. But Raya came in and saved them. In the second leg, Donnarumma came up and saved PSG. So Arsenal would get back into it. You can't just say, we outplayed them and the goalkeeper had to make saves. Cool. But that's a collective. It's a collective effort there. So that was the first leg. We escaped with the 1-0. The return leg, they escaped with the 1-0. Took them to extra time, took them to penalties. It just so happens that we are inept at taking penalties, that we were absolute dog shit. And even then, it was still an even game. The first 15, 20 minutes, we could have easily been 2 up if we took some chances. Donnarumma save, hit the post, whatever it was. It's a shit go. Things just don't go your way. So that's a team that gave PSG a bit of a game. But of course, you're not going to hear that. You're just going to see people saying shameless things like this. Man, watching this and just feeling the longing that Arsenal should have been here competing for the Champions League double. They were better than the better team against PSG. I mean, it's absolute madness to say this. Oh, man, I don't understand. There was a quote here. You can actually always the bridesmaid. There was a quote here that actually says after the game in the post, you can actually see where, who was it? Luis Enrique. And props to Enrique, props to that PSG team. Absolute madness from them. They did the absolute business. Look, the best team in Europe, bro. Best team in Europe, hands down. I found it here. Post-match, Luis Enrique on PSG's toughest UCL opponent. Remember, there was reports that said, Arsenal reported that, he said they were the best team that they faced, and he said, I never said that. It says it here. There were a few matches this season that tested us. Liverpool, for example, made things very difficult, especially in transitions. Aston Villa, too, they were one of the more organised sides we came up against. No mention of Arsenal in this, as far as I can tell. So I don't know where they're talking about them being a team that went blow for blow with them, according to Luis Enrique, according to the PSG camp, and according to what they were saying that they were told on the sidelines. Now, to bring it to Liverpool in a way, John O'Sullivan here tweets and says, to think it took this PSG side penalties to knock Liverpool out of the Champions League, and Slot actually got loads of criticism for it, which just highlights how good the current Liverpool side is. Now, we all said Arsenal beat PSG 2-0 in the, latter stages, group stages, whatever that is, right? We've beaten them already, we're going to beat them again. Okay, but that PSG team was not the same PSG team in the semis that you faced in the opening stages. Very different. They win all sorts themselves. Yes, they wrapped up their league early. Yes, they won the French Cup and they won the Champions League. So that's a treble for Enrique, the second manager to win a treble at 2 different clubs. Pep doing it at Barca and also at Man City. And then Enrique doing it at Barca and now at PSG. So only 2 managers to have done it with 2 different teams. And that is how the football goes. You can say Liverpool were outplayed. Okay, maybe we were outplayed, but we got the win away. And they narrowly got the win at Anfield. And it was down to a error in defence. of our own making. It just so happened that Dembele was there, right spot, right time, tap it in, got themselves the goal. Could have had themselves more. Alisson pulled off some saves. Donnarumma pulled off some saves as well in the second leg, much like he did against Arsenal. So there wasn't really anything to complain about. You don't score your goals, you ain't winning your games. Simple as. Now, I don't know to say how good the current Liverpool side is. Obviously, Premier League proven 20 times. Thank you very much. Maybe with a little bit more discipline, maybe with a little bit more composure and a bit more attacking prowess, we could go further in the league and in the Champions League, I should say, next season. But we'll see what happens. Last tweet here on Inter Milan and Simone Inzaghi. As I said at the start, Super Coppa final lost, Coppa Italia lost, the Serie A did not win, and the UCL final ended up losing. But Arsenal fans want him, and with all due respect, Simone Inzaghi won 6 trophies while at his time at Inter. He won the Serie A, whether they were challenged or not, doesn't matter, still won the Serie A, won Super Coppa, won Coppa Italia a few times, runner-up in the Champions League, and runner-up again, yeah? But now people will say, oh, but who had the better season, Inter or Arsenal? Now, I was listening to Footy Judge Mo with Hassam on MHF earlier on, and Mo said neither of us did. He says, we made some finals, Arsenal didn't, neither team won anything, but ultimately getting humiliated on the world stage, because Champions League is global, hundreds of millions of people watch the Champions League. If that is a marker of your season, Arsenal looked much better than Inter, because Inter got done no Vaseline 5-0 in a final. But then again, you can say Inter at least made finals and lost them. Arsenal didn't even make a final to lose it. So you can look at it in either which way. However, I'm going to leave it there. You guys can debate and, discuss things amongst yourselves in the comments and all that. This has been my little take on the Champions League. Congratulations to PSG. Best European team this season, without a doubt. People want to cope and argue and try and make themselves feel any better. Oh, we should have been there. We were the better team. This, that, blah, blah, blah. Argue amongst yourselves. It's done. PSG, best in Europe. First Champions League ever. Congratulations. Treble winners as well. Enrique Masterclass. That PSG team is quality. And you never know. They may be here for a few years yet. We'll wait and see what happens with the rest of Europe. But that's me signing out here.